Hi guys, this will be a quick reference video for neighborhood data. In here, we're gonna also be finding our supply and demand, and these things can be separated, but we'll go through that after we get all the data in for the first time. So at the top here, I have two tabs open, and we're gonna be working out of Connect MLS and the worksheet that I have for this tutorial. At the bottom, we're gonna be focusing primarily on neighborhood supply and demand, and import primary. Now, Connect MLS, we're going to use a familiar neighborhood, Shooting Park Road, Route 251, 4th Street, and Church Street. In order to get to your main search screen, we're going to come in and hit detached market conditions. So start with search, then detached market conditions. If you're working attached, hit attached market conditions. And once you pull up this analysis, you'll bring up your 24 months, all actives, and closed pending sales. And then you'd want to hit the map, define your neighborhood boundaries. In my case, I'm going to use that neighborhood right here. And up at the top, instead of count, view results, map results, we're going to hit download results. So I'll wait for this to load, and you can see it loading here at the top. That's swirl. After it loads, we want to look in this drop-down menu and select download for market conditions. Select next. Follow through with continue. So I haven't moved the mouse yet after selecting the drop-down. I'm going to wait for it to load again. Now that's up here, and we can see it downloaded the file. The newest file will always be on the left. That's why I left this one down here, just to show you that the new one comes in to the left. And if you do end up accumulating a few, just focus on the one to the left to know that's the most recent file you downloaded. Now at the top of the screen, I'm going to go back to my worksheet. I do want to write in my neighborhood boundaries, so that would be Shooting Park Road to the north and 251 to the east, Route 6 to the south, and Church Street to the west. And then I can go and click on my Import Primary tab. Now over here in Import Primary, we want to go back up to the top and select File, Import, and up here we have Upload. And at the bottom, again, we're using the most recent one because that's the neighborhood boundaries we just downloaded. We're going to just drag and drop that into the worksheet. Here we have replace current sheet. This is the selection you'll go with most of the time. Sometimes append rows to current sheet is applicable, but for the majority of the time we're only going to replace current sheet. Nextly, we import this data into our spreadsheet. It's very important that you do this only on Import Primary or Import 1004MC as a tab. If you do it in another tab, you will wipe out whatever data is in there. As the worksheet loads at the top here, you'll see a bar, and this bar will go through its circuit a few times. It's a bunch of data and it's all getting analyzed, but what we do is I left Import Primary over here, and I came to the bottom and I clicked on the Neighborhood tab. It tells us what our primary style is in the neighborhood, along with the price range, the age range, and earlier when we wrote out our neighborhood boundaries, we got a nice little comment. Next, we can click on the Supply and Demand tab. In here, if we choose the answers to these first three questions, we'll get a supply and demand analysis in regards to our neighborhood section, or our neighborhood boundaries, excuse me. So first I'm going to click Connect MLS with an X, then Detached, and the subject's neighborhood boundaries. And as the program loads up here at the top, you'll see these questions will get answered with a paragraph regarding whatever analysis was performed. The first one goes on the 1004MC page of the appraisal report, and it regards the number of REO sales or listings within the subject's neighborhood. The second is in regards to the total supply and demand for the neighborhood. Now, in this neighborhood, they found 35 closed sales, and they compared that to the active listings, 35 closed sales in the past 12 months, and they compared that to the number of active listings at 24, which is current. And doing that math, they came up with 8-month inventory, which is within reasonable parameters of a supply and demand being in balance. Now, this can be changed or altered in any way, and the quick reminder is up here at the top of the page, right above both paragraphs. It tells you that you need to copy, paste special, paste values only. I'm going to show you how to do that right here. We right click into the comment that we want to change. You select copy, and then immediately right click back into that and special, paste special, and we'll paste values only. And now we have a fully editable comment that we can alter in any way we'd like to. Now I'm going to go back a couple steps and get the initial comment back in here. Went back one too many steps. Now, with the comment that's in there, if we aren't pleased with the results, or we know that there may be a question raised by the lender, such as the estimated inventory is, 18 months, it's an oversupply. At the bottom of the worksheet, as I scroll down, I can edit this last box to say something after the final sentence in my supply and demand analysis. So if it were an oversupply, I could comment and state something about the marketability. So, oversupply of properties may have an effect on the marketability of the subject property. Now, after I finish that sentence, we'll see that it appends itself to the end of this sentence, or this paragraph up here, and that's the final paragraph that ends up in your appraisal report. So if you're just going to add on to the paragraph and write some quick snippet, then you can put that down there and you'll see it show up. Now, if you do want to edit the entire paragraph or make some changes in general, you can follow through with the copy, paste special, and paste values only method. Otherwise, I think that this should be a pretty decent reference for everybody in regards to how to obtain your neighborhood data and supply and demand primary. In another video, I will explain to you how you can come in and pull your neighborhood data and then perhaps pull different data to report your supply and demand. So say you did want to report these numbers for the neighborhood and you didn't want your primary supply and demand statement to regard the 4 sales that occurred over the last 17 centuries. So in that, you would want to edit the data that shows up here by either deleting what's in the purple and writing over the top of it, so that these formulas that exist for each cell aren't there, or you would want to run a secondary supply and demand. And when we get into that video, you can see further what we can do there. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have any suggestions or any questions, and I can get them in a video tutorial for you as well.